A 100-year-old church reached out to me and asked if I could recreate a section of their molding that recently fell. Having not ever done a project like this before, of course, I was like, yes. So I'll show you how I took these pieces that they sent me, turned them into this. This church was built in the early 1900s. I'm not exactly sure on the date, but I do know that a lady that attends there is over 100 years old, and she remembers her father working on the church when she was a little girl. So it's pretty old. They sent me the molding. They are about 3 hours away from here, so they had somebody drop it off at my doorstep. And this is me opening it up for the first time. I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I really didn't. I just like to jump into things. It's pretty much in the scope of, as far as 3D modeling, things that I've done in the past. The only new thing here was I've never particularly used a 3D scanner. After doing some research and digging, I was able to come to the conclusion that I think, for my purposes, the RevoPoint Metro X was suitable for this job. So here I am opening it, but what is a 3D scanner? Well, the best way I have to explain it to you is that the scanner shoots lasers and it measures distance and creates a point cloud, and that is exactly what you think it is. It is a cloud of points, as you can see here. The software that comes with the 3D scanner uses algorithms to intuitively turn these points into a mesh, like so. Depending on the use, some people will leave it here and print it, but I've never really liked the texture from the deviation in the 3D scanner. So what I like to do is I will use this as a reference mesh and create a hard model mesh. And I will probably go through this process a little bit more in detail later on. And here I am getting ready to start the scanning process. I'm getting all my equipment out in my workshop. Excuse the mess in the background. It is a lot of boxes and a lot of things that we have yet to move into our house. Here I am getting started. The process of scanning is, at least with the newer scanners, it seems like it's pretty straightforward, but there's still a bit of a learning curve. You can see I'm adding markers, I'm changing things, and then I start using the little sticky pad, sticky reflectors. Those help out a ton for keeping tracking. Once everything was scanned in, all I had to do was wait. For my first time using a scanner, I was really impressed with the quality that came out of this thing. And I mean, it's going to save me so much time in my workflow going forward. I usually use calipers and all kinds of other methods to get what I need done, but this thing is insane. Oh no. I took all of my models and brought them to my desk, and I know I should have done the removal in the software, but you live and you learn, and so I had to cut it all out in Blender, which wasn't a really bad problem, but it definitely would have saved me some time to do it before I exported everything as an STL. 32 gigs of RAM right now. That's right. Once I got all the mesh cleaned up and trimmed up, I was able to reorganize it, all the pieces together, and get something like this. And that was a great reference to use to model the rest of these pieces, which was pretty straightforward. I created like this like silhouette outline of the base structure, and then I recreated each individual pattern element. As long as I could scan one pattern, I could recreate the whole thing, and that's what I was able to do. I have done countless projects like this before, and you'd think I'd learn my lesson, but every time I find myself in Boolean hell. And it is what it is. You have to adapt and figure things out. It's a lot more work on the back end, but eventually I was able to get a very clean model and section it up for my printer, or for any regular person printer, not like a large format printer. And I was able to print these out into pieces. It wound up being, I think, 18 total pieces. And this is the first prototype that I printed and sent to the church, and they did a test fit. and using images, I was able to kind of get a rough idea of adjustments I needed to make. And here I am trying to do a little paint matching for this green, which I think it might be oxidized paint. I'm not entirely sure, but I had to match it, and as you can see here, that base coat on the right was a little too dark, so I had to get it adjusted as well. And I've done a ton of crops in the past, and I was able to use this experience to make this prototype, and the whole final product was a little bit more weathered, and the prototype turned out really well. It was a little too red, and I was able to adjust that for the final piece by removing all the extra red. And then I had to get into support removal, and this was a actual nightmare. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I had a total of 18 pieces for the non-prototype for the final product, and it was something else. It took hours and hours of removal, and of course then I had to get it all together with steel dowels, JB Weld, Bondo, and it turned my whole workshop into even more of a mess. But we finally got it all together. We got it primed and ready for paint and sanding. This is after I bondoed it, and I do apologize, I don't have a ton of pictures and videos towards the end because I was just so exhausted. Overall, I was really happy with the final project. If I've earned your subscription or a like, please follow me if you like this kind of content, and hopefully I can keep some more coming. It's a little slower since I have kids and a full-time job and everything, but I do this as a hobby, and it's just a lot of fun. Thanks.